Next on Worcester News tonight, a vigil outside a closed church. Parishioners renew their call to save Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Plus, an unusual item left behind during a recent shoplifting event in Leicester may lead police right to the suspects. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. A vigil is held in front of Worcester's Our Lady Mount Carmel Friday after demolition markings were made on the church building. The building shut down nearly 2 years ago for safety reasons, but parishioners say the markings were made too early.
My heart was breaking.
Carmelita Bello reacts to the big orange X painted on the side of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church. The vice president of the Mount Carmel Preservation Society says the markings are premature.
We're in an appeal. We have a lawyer that we've hired in Rome to represent us. And according to canon law, my understanding is they're not supposed to do anything to the church.
The building was closed in May of 2016. The Diocese of Worcester cited unsafe conditions and described the church as being in serious deterioration. Bello joined numerous parishioners for a vigil on Good Friday because she says the church is more than just a building.
It's like, why fight for your country? Why fight for your family? Why fight for your friends? That's what all of this represents to all of us and many more people that aren't here today.
Earlier this year, the Vatican upheld a decree allowing the church to be used for appropriate non-religious purposes. Elaine Buffaro's grandfather helped lay the stone for the 89-year-old Mount Carmel. She says she'll fight for the church until the day it's taken down.
There is a process in place to have us go out and at least try and save it. Makes us keep going.
The building has been slated for demolition for the last 2 years, but the group says it should be delayed once again based on their appeals. Parishioners say preservation isn't just for them, it's for the city.
Every milestone of our lives happened in this church.
There's a lot here that I do want to preserve, but I want to preserve it for Worcester. I mean, it has been the cornerstone church for the city of Worcester.
Now, the group does have 2 appeals active right now before the church will be knocked down. They say while those appeals are active, nobody should be touching the church. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. A popular new restaurant in Worcester will be closed for the near future. A sign posted on the Hangover Pub on Green Street Friday night says the restaurant will be closed until further notice. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the pub's manager, Christopher Slavinkis, pled guilty Thursday in federal court. He's charged with lying to investigators in the case of a former Worcester restaurateur who was convicted of money laundering. Slavinkis is scheduled to be sentenced June 29th. He faces up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. The pub's Facebook post goes on to say, "We will keep everyone posted on our reopening date and appreciate everyone's support. We love you all, and we'll see you soon." An unusual item left behind during a recent shoplifting event in Leicester may lead police right to the suspect. Leicester police say the suspect attempted to find a way around a security device at a local retailer by covering it with Play-Doh. When the attempt didn't work, the suspect fled, leaving behind the Play-Doh with a good fingerprint pressed into it. The print is being processed to identify the suspect. High school students in Auburn getting a chance to voice their concerns this afternoon. Congressman Jim McGovern visited an AP government class today to discuss topics like gun violence and student activism. Our Chandler Walsh has the story.
A lot of people are turning to America's youth.
Students who take the AP government class at Auburn High School show an interest in politics.
Your generation is going to fix everything.
And it seems more of their peers are joining them. Congressman Jim McGovern says he's inspired by student activism since the shooting in Parkland, Florida.
No matter what their futures hold, they're going to be involved in their communities, they're going to be involved in their country, and they're going to fight for what they believe in.
McGovern visited Auburn High to talk with the AP government students. Teacher Spencer Kennard says Auburn students are active, some attending March for Our Lives rallies in Worcester and Boston.
I think that they're more curious on what the future is going to look like, as well as what their role is and how they can have action.
The AP students say they learn a lot about government in class, but they say they've noticed other classmates outside getting involved too.
There's people that people that are sharing opinions that I didn't even know had certain opinions.
AP students say their class represents all sides of the political spectrum, and they enjoy having active and respectful debates.
If you can find common ground and you can build something off of a base that's created, that is very, very important.
One thing most agree on, their voices are here to stay.
Your voice, even though it might be one of a dozen voices or 100 voices or even 1,000 voices, your voice might be the one that gets people to listen.
These students aren't going away. They know that if they want change, they're going to have to utilize this political process.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
The driver of a tractor trailer who crashed into a Cambridge Bridge Street Thursday is issued 2 civil citations. Worcester police say the driver was cited for impaired operation and failure to obey road signs. Both are city ordinances. The Worcester Fire Department says the truck was carrying a toxic chemical. While there were no injuries, a portion of Cambridge Street had to be closed and evacuated for a portion of the evening Thursday. It's a solemn day in the Catholic religion. Dozens gathered at the Cathedral of St. Paul for their Good Friday service commemorating the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Bishop Robert McManus says Good Friday is a day of mixed emotions, remembering the day Christ dying on the cross, but says it's also a day filled with hope because his death opened the gates of heaven. He says the turnout in Worcester for Good Friday is inspiring. He also says with Easter being the biggest day in the Catholic religion, he invites all to come to Mass to renew their faith. Gerardos Bakery in West Boylston is serving up some sweet treats this week for the Easter holiday. Staff at the bakery have been preparing for the Easter rush for a few weeks now. A display like this doesn't just happen overnight, people. Lines formed Friday as customers picked up their Easter breads, pies, and Italian cookies. The manager of the shop says Saturday is when they see the largest crowd.
No one has work, so everyone's here. They start lining up at 7 a.m. And we have a policeman out front that directs traffic, so we let so many people in the bakery at a time, and there's a line all the way down the sidewalk. Just as big as Christmas. It's definitely huge.
The bakery will be open Saturday 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and they will be open Easter Sunday until 2. An uncommon way to design eggs in the U.S. is being studied by WPI students. A graduate student brought the idea to her professors. They're now trying to turn the technique into a game design. Our Rosalind Flaherty explains.
Karen Royer brought her love of making Ukrainian Easter eggs to her professors at WPI.
I brought it into school and met Jennifer in the hallway and said, you know, wouldn't you like to just get together for a weekend and do this for fun? And she's like, oh, no, I've got a better idea. We need to teach this.
Her professors Jennifer DeWinter and Jillian Smith decided to incorporate the eggs in their interactive media and game development class. Their goal is to see if the technique used to make the designs can be turned into a game.
Good game design is about experience design. There's a lot of math and sort of process that feels very much like computer science actually involved in making these eggs.
The process for the Ukrainian egg involves mapping out and drawing a design, then applying hot black wax to the egg. The egg then goes into different colored dye baths, and once it's done, the wax is melted off.
One of the reasons I love these eggs is that reveal where you're pulling off the last bit of wax and you get this like just bright, vibrant color popping off.
DeWinter says this is her first experience and says although the eggs are beautiful, it can be terrifying to do.
As you layer the wax on, you have no clue how it's going to turn out, right? So not only are you always afraid of dropping this object, you're afraid that any decision that you make is wrong.
The class started creating these eggs in February. The professors say the class still has a lot of thinking to do to see how they can turn the egg making into a game.
Being able to talk to students about the overlaps between arts and science, and then think about the ways in which the games could be used to communicate that out to the general public.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
More than 80 breweries are expected to be at the DCU Center this weekend for the 8th annual Brew Woo. Worcester's original craft beer festival will feature craft beer tastings from all over New England, food vendors, and live music. It runs this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. and 6 to 9 p.m. Tickets in advance are $38 and $48 at the door.